Okay, so welcome to virtual day 2. So just as we expected, we are here. We are at home and learning virtually. So I hope you've had a good breakfast. I hope you got to sleep in a little bit and you've enjoyed your morning so far. So for today in science, I am going to have a discussion for you, and then you will have a short lesson to complete on your own at the end. So I will have no set Zoom times, but if you send me a message, I can Zoom during school hours with you one-to-one, and I can help you with your assignment. Or if you send me a message anytime during the day, I will be here to answer emails and messages throughout the day. But for now, we're going to have a little discussion with a reading, and I want you to watch this, and then we will be filling out a chart together. So fill this chart out with the video, and you can show me that chart for your participation in watching this video. Then at the end of this video, you'll have a short assignment that you will do on your own. So in order to get started here, I want to review what we talked about in class. So we've been working on investigation 4 and answering the question, in dodgeball, how are you able to avoid being hit? So important vocabulary that we've talked about so far is the word stimulus. And a stimulus is an interaction between the environment and a receptor. So remember, that's anything we can see, taste, hear, touch, smell, all of our senses, okay? Anything that's in our environment, and then how we respond to that then is how our neurons fire back and forth. So our sensory neuron sends that message to the brain, and our brain responds by sending those motor neurons back throughout our body, and then we will have a response to what has happened. So we were talking about how the brain worked, and we're exploring that, and we're hoping to get to our investigation tomorrow with seeing how fast we could respond to not getting hit by the cup. So moving our hands, seeing how quick we were. So unfortunately, we're not able to do that at home. So hopefully tomorrow we will get to do that in our groups. So as we continue with this, we are going to be talking about sensory systems today. So we're going to look at sensory systems, and I will be reading to you from our book, and it's called Sensory Systems. So you can pull the book up and follow along, or you can just follow along with me here today. So let's take a look at sensory systems. See if I can get this a little more clear for you. Okay. So sensory systems. It's not much better. There we go. So awareness of the environment and the ability to respond quickly are absolutely essential for you to stay alive. Fortunately, you have been supplied with an early warning system to tell you about potential hazards. This system is your senses and your brain, which controls your every action. Staying alive. Senses pick up clues from the environment, both far and near, and pass them on to your brain. The brain considers the clues, compresses them to your experiences, and takes appropriate action. So this again is explaining how our brain takes the things happening in our environment, but also relates them to the experiences we've had previously, and then takes the appropriate action. All your senses have similar systems. Each has one or several types of receptor neurons that receive just one kind of environmental clue. In vision, light of certain wavelengths is converted into electric impulses in neurons in the eye. The other senses respond to vibrations in the air that enter the ear, chemicals in a liquid on the tongue or gas in the nose, or pressure in the skin. In each case, specialized receptor neurons change the environmental cue into a signal that travels to the brain. The brain sorts the signals into our perceptions of vision, sound, taste, smell, and touch. So sensory information. All sensory systems collect 4 types of information from environmental clues or stimuli. So we're going to sort these 4 types of environmental clues together. So let's go ahead and start our chart that we're going to make today. So we are going to put sensory information in the middle. So if you don't have a piece of paper, now would be a good time to pause the video, grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and we will do this together. So we will start with sensory information in the middle. And there are 4 types. So they've told us there are 4 types. So we're going to sort through these 4 types together by just making a little chart here. All right. One type of information is sensation. For humans, these are vision, touch, taste, hearing, and smell. Each kind of sensation has several parts, such as color and movement in vision. So let's stop there. So information that our brain takes in through our senses, the first one is sensations. And they describe those sensations for us. So let's just make another box. And off from sensations, let's write vision, touch, taste, hear, and smell. So the first type of sensory information that we input is the sensations: hearing, tasting, touching, our vision, and our smell. So let's sort that this way. Feel free to pause this video at any time you need to take your notes. Another type of information is the amount of sensation. If there is a large enough stimulus, the system does not detect anything. The amount of sensation you can sense changes with different conditions. So we're going to put the amount of sensation. So we have sensations, now we have amount. The amount of sensation. If there is not a large enough stimulus, the system does not detect anything. The amount of sensation that you can sense changes with different conditions. So we're going to make this different conditions. We'll come back to this today as well as tomorrow in class. So the sensory information we take in depends on sensations and the amount of information we take in. We have to take in enough information for there to be a response. Let's look at the third type of information we take in. Another type of information is how long the perception of the sensation lasts. If the stimulus lasts a long time, the amount of sensation decreases. For example, when you first get into a hot bath, the temperature might feel too hot, but this sensation fades very quickly. So let's put length. Okay, so the length of the information that we have is also going to depend on that. So if the stimulus lasts a long time, the amount of sensation is going to decrease. So it depends on how long we do this, okay? So if the sensation lasts a long time, the amount of sensation will decrease. Or if the stimulus lasts a long time, the amount of sensation will decrease. So I apologize. Let's erase that. So if the stimulus is a long time, the sensation will decrease. So that example of getting into a hot bath, that stimulus is going to last a long time because that water is very hot. But the sensation we feel from that is going to start to decrease and it's going to fade quickly. So we get into a hot tub and at first that stimulus is very long. The water is very hot. But after a while, the sensation starts to decrease. So we don't start to feel like that hot water is as piercingly hot. So when we take in information, sensations matter, the amount matters, and the length matters. The last type of information is where the stimulus takes place. This affects the ability to distinguish two closely spaced stimuli. To go back to our ant example, if you have 2 ants on your arm very close together, can you tell if there is 1 or 2 ants? This really depends on how big they are, right? This depends on the number and density of the receptors. The more densely packed the receptors, the closer two ants can be and still be detected by two separate receptors. So it really matters in their location. So if we have a lot of receptors in that area, we might be able to tell that there are two. But if they're super close together, we might be only picking that up on one receptor. So the last area of sensory information that we want to look at is location. So we want to know if they are close or far apart. Okay, if the sensory information is coming very close together from those receptors or if they're coming far apart. So once we have this, we're going to refer back to this tomorrow during our investigation as well, and this will help to set up some of this information and help us sort through it more quickly tomorrow. So I'm going to continue our reading here. So, different areas of the brain process messages from different sensory systems. Where the brain receives the message determines where we see or hear or smell something in response. So, part of our brain is going to depict speech. Part of our brain is looking for touch. Part of our brain is looking for movement. Part of our brain is the thinking. So, each different part of our brain here, smell, sound, taste, our vision is back here, is going to determine how we respond to that stimulus, how we respond to that message. So animals respond to senses differently than humans. Other animals have different ranges of sensory sensitivity than humans. Eagles see with greater activity. Bees see ultraviolet light, and rattlesnakes detect infrared or heat. Dogs hear higher sounds and whales lower sounds. Dogs can smell thousands of times better, and great horned owls don't smell at all. And some animals, particularly migratory waterfowl, seem to sense magnetism, although the exact mechanism and the organs are unknown. And if we think about this, the way that their brains respond to these stimuli has to do with the environment that they live in and the foods that they hunt. So it's very important to consider that when we're here. So I want you just to think about this question for a minute. So thinking about sensory systems, how is our sense of vision like our sense of smell, and how are they different? So I want you to consider this question and just write a response to this question. So how is our sense of vision like our sense of smell? And how might they be different? You can write your response to this question at the bottom of your chart. So the first part of today's assignment was to kind of go through this reading with us and sort out this chart so that we can refer back to this in class tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be talking more in-depthly about sensory information and what each of these four parts mean. But I want you to have this chart ready for tomorrow. And then go ahead and write your response to this question. How is our sense of vision like our sense of smell, and how are they different? At the bottom of this chart here. Okay. The second part of our lesson today is going to Study Jams. So Scholastic Study Jams. We've been to that website before. And you're going to look up the central nervous system. Okay, the central nervous system. And there's just a 3-minute video, 3 or 4 minute video that you'll watch on Study Jams about the central nervous system. And that will review what we talked about today in class. And then again, it has that quiz at the end. Now I would like for you to screenshot your quiz, and I will move the camera over to show you just how to screenshot in just a second. But you will screenshot your quiz the first time you take it, and then I want you to take it until you get 10 out of 10. So after you watch the video, you'll take that quiz, and then if you only get 6 out of 10, that's okay. But I want you to screenshot that, and then I want you to take it again, so review your answers and take it again to get 10 out of 10, and then screenshot that for me. Then you will go and you will turn in your screenshots on Google Classroom. So I will have an assignment on Google Classroom called Central Nervous System Study Jams, and they want you to hand in your screenshots of that study jam. So you will push Control, and there'll be a box with 2 lines at the top of your computer. So Control plus the box with 2 lines to screenshot. If you don't know how to screenshot, you can always Google how to screenshot on my Chromebook, and it's one of the first things that pop up to show you Control with this box with 2 lines at the top to screenshot. So make sure tomorrow you have this chart ready to go for our investigation so we can refer back to it and we can really dig deep into this sensory information and how it gets sent to our brain. And then review central nervous system by watching that video and taking a screenshot of your end quiz. And that will complete your lesson for science today. So again, if you have any questions, send me a message on Seesaw or send me an email. And if we need to, we can set up a Zoom time to work on this one-on-one, okay? So go ahead and begin this assignment, and I hope you have a really great snow day, and I will see you tomorrow.